hi, Heidi ho, and welcome on. Welcome to Cast That Movie. Tom, I'm back.
You're back! Yay, you're back!
And welcome back to all of you to the podcast where two nobodies in the middle of nowhere have some fun and games and basically look at a failed cinematic project from the past, recast it, and think up a dream project and cast that. That's the gimmick. That's what we do. I think we don't really need to. I mean, the show's kind of self-explanatory, wouldn't you say? Like, as you hear it, you'll see what we're doing, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
'Tis not rocket science. All right, so for today's episode, we are going to be looking at the failed project King Arthur: Legend of the Sword, the 2017 Guy Ritchie movie. And we are going to talk about what went wrong with that. Tom will give us a nice little rundown of what happened there, or maybe some theories as to why it failed miserably. And then we're going to give an alternate vision of what might have been. And this is, I think, the newest project we've looked at, is it not?
Oh, yeah. This is the newest project by far. This is the newest project.
And that makes our job easy because when we recast and pick a new director for these projects, we have to pick from the era in which the project was made. So basically, anybody's on the table because 2017 was 3 years ago. So we got a lot of options. We don't have to search into the recesses of our nostalgia for this one.
Yeah, it was a lot easier.
Much. And then for the original project, this is going to be kind of exciting. We are going to be casting a Red Dead Redemption movie.
I am excited for that.
Yeah, that one should be interesting for sure.
I would not be surprised if we landed on a couple of the same characters, possibly. I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either. However, yeah, a couple of them maybe, but a couple I once again kind of went a little outside the box, and
you're stealing my playbook.
Well, it makes for better listening, I think, to our listeners when they don't see the obvious coming, I guess. So I
Sure.
Sometimes you can't avoid it. Like we've had a few now where we've picked the same one, the same actor or actress for a role. But those are just the ones where neither of us could think of a better alternative. And you're going to have those, but we'll see if we have any of those this episode. Let's start. Why don't you give your reaction to your little special retrospective episode with Joe Fremming, who was kind enough to sit in for me here on the last episode?
You know, first of all, you are, like I said in that podcast, the anchor. Because we go on tangents, and boy, was it Tangent City. But as you talked about, too, picking things that are outside the box, I purposely picked David Lynch to direct Star Wars just to fuck with the guy. It did get awkward with Ted Mills. That was a little awkward, but, you know.
Have we officially cut our ties with Ted Mills? I mean, where does that relationship stand? Because he's one of our more reliable sponsors today.
Yes, he is. Well, I guess we'll talk about behind the scenes. We talked to Ted and explained to him that if he's going to keep advertising, he can't do that stuff. Now, you and I have known Ted for years.
Yeah, many years.
Many years. We helped him with his music career when we were running Nisbet Records.
Yeah. That went nowhere.
So, you know, I want to keep a good rapport with the guy. You know,
he just lacks charisma, man. Just no charisma there.
No. And, you know,
charisma void.
The great Fago doesn't help either.
Yeah, it rarely does.
What was your reaction to not being there? I mean, I'm glad you're here because you ground the show, but what was your take on it?
You know, it was odd to miss an episode, but on the flip side, got a new podcast up and running, so I had to, I guess, spend some time capital, I guess, on doing that, and you're a part of that, and so is Joe. It's a new office podcast we started called I'm flubbing the plug here. Bears Beats Bobbleheads Talking Office, and that can be found on all of the formats. You can find this podcast, sans iTunes as of yet, but you can find that on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, or at thejodown.blog, which is where our collective home pages are for all of our podcasts.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was weird, but it was worth it because I wanted to get that off to a good start. I think we have our first episode out. It dropped just this last week, and I encourage everybody to seek that out, especially if you're an Office fan or if you're not, because the gimmick, of course, is that you've never watched The Office.
Correct.
So I feel like we have that element so that you don't even need to have seen it to be able to relate to one of the hosts.
Yes.
And in fact,
yes.
you can watch it at the same rate he does, and I don't know, it's fun, but it was worth it. But yeah, it's good to be back, and I'm excited for the projects we chose. I think they're going to be a good time. Going to be a good time. Good time.
Well, I'm glad to hear that worked out. But what did you think of our performance last week?
I didn't listen to it.
Oh, fair enough. All right.
Sorry.
That's good.
I plan to. It's just, time got away, and it's I will. How about I will listen to it and I will give the reaction next episode. Is that fair?
That is absolutely fair, but don't feel forced to do things. I know, we're running, you're doing 2 podcasts, I'm doing 3 podcasts, so I totally understand where you are, in terms of the timing. So yeah, I get it.
I appreciate your understanding, but keep in mind, I don't listen to this podcast, so I don't even listen to podcasts I'm a part of. I wouldn't listen to the Office one if I wasn't editing it, to be quite honest with you. That's just how I am. I'd rather do it, but I'm not one for listening after. Probably explains why I never improve on my performance.
No, you've been that way for years, and it's totally understandable.
But I'm still going to do it, and I hope others can find the enjoyment that I just don't seem to find. I enjoy making it. I just hate the sound of my own voice because it sucks. No, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, do you have any corrections that you want to bring up from either? I don't know if you guys did that last episode for our episode prior.
No, you know what? Me and Joe did go into it last time, so we don't have to. Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, at that, I guess we might as well get our first break out of the way. I don't believe it's Ted Mills, so I don't believe we have the pleasure of hearing from him this episode, but we'll see if that changes in the future. But let's go to our first ad break and come back, and we will, I think, just jump right into it and start our talk and recasting of King Arthur: Legend of the Sword. We will be right back. Most people look at me and they're like, hey, that guy must work out. And hey, that guy could be a model. And hey, I'd totally bang that guy with the lights on. But what they don't see when they look at me is that I make some of the finest artisanal brooms the world has ever seen. So I started Dude Brooms 5 years ago in my bodega. And now I'm selling them, and holy shit, do they kick dust ass. Order yours today, and I'll include my workout tape that will have you brooming and building muscle at the same time. Somehow, it's sweet. So yeah, check out Dustin Dudley's Dude Brooms, and you'll never look back. That's brooms with a Z, by the way, 'cause whatever, eat shit. Welcome back to Cast That Movie. And Tom, we don't have any casting news this week, do we? I don't have anything. Do you have anything?
I got nothing.
Man, we are just lazy. We're just so lazy.
We're so lazy.
That's fine though. I mean, we've kind of hit that stage, where we can just kind of phone it in now and then. I think we've established that we can do it well, but why do it well all the time?
Right.
That's what most shows do when they come into their own, then they start to get lazy and the characters become more cartoonish. And I'd say we're definitely becoming more cartoonish by the episode. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, I would completely agree. I'm thinking about getting a soundboard.
I'm thinking about getting an action figure made of myself, honestly. So anyway, let's go then right into our recast, failed cinematic project from the past. We are doing, as I stated earlier, King Arthur: Legend of the Sword, 2017 Guy Ritchie movie, a Guy Ritchie epic. Why don't you give the rundown, and then I want to talk, before we start doing our recasting, I want to actually talk about this film, and I want to get your reaction to it, because I'm eager to share mine. But let's first hear how and why this potentially is bombed, or why it might have bombed.
Yeah, so what the big problem with it was, okay, so when it came down to it, the real reason why this movie failed was delays. It was delayed and delayed. This movie was supposed to come out like in 2005. Or excuse me, end of 2015, beginning of 2016. And we didn't get it till 2017. So, when it was pushing out all the media, it was pushing out all these things, and then it got, when the movies get postponed, that's a bad sign to the audience. And that can sink a lot of movies, and has sunk a lot of movies. So when the fact that this came out like about 18 months later than it was supposed to, and they started with the marketing campaign for it in 2016, by the time it rolled around, the biggest problem was it was just, it was reshoots, problems with the CGI, is what was the main culprit. However, there's a lot more to it than that in terms of how this movie was viewed is the real problem with it. So it was kind of taken as business as usual. Loud noises, grand fanfare, familiar characters, a story that everyone knows, told in a, quote, new and exciting way. That doesn't work much anymore. We are seeing that totally all the time. People are getting bored of the reboots, of the redone. The other problem with it was the supporting characters, Aiden and Damon, they didn't have anything. They had like a few lines in the movie. They were nothing more than a plot device. One of the things that really pissed off critics was that the magic wasn't really explained well. It's just kind of there. And you got the Mage, who is super fucking OP, commands animals, does all this shit, but she's overpowered by a dude with a fucking knife. She can make birds go out of the sky, possess the minds of dogs and horses, and yet she can't take over a guy with a little knife. It was just a prop for something for Arthur to do. And so that was part of the issue. The other thing was, let's look at it this way. Epics are becoming harder to do because of high quality streaming, or Game of Thrones, take that into effect. That changed the game. The Witcher, that changed the game. So when people saw this, they were like, whoa, whatever, it would be better than a movie. And really, as much as I like Guy Ritchie, his two highest rated films on Rotten Tomatoes are Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. Yes, he made Sherlock Holmes and its sequel, but Ritchie is either he succeeds or he bombs. He doesn't have a middle ground.
Right.
And I'll be honest, the CGI was awful, and the fact that the lead and Arthur looked like Heath Ledger did not help. I mean, it came out. I mean, it went to theaters at the same time as the promoted documentary "I Am Heath Ledger." Heath Ledger. Oh. So there was some feelings of, did they get this guy because they knew there was going to be?
No. Charlie Hunnam was an established guy in his own right.
I'm just telling you what the opinions are of what people thought about this movie. So yeah, that's really what it is. There was just, people weren't into it. And okay, let's be awesome. Damon was great in Gladiator. This is not Gladiator. Aiden was amazing in Game of Thrones. He's not in this isn't Game of Thrones. Jude Law was in Enemy at the Gates. This is not Enemy at the Gates. Charlie Hunnam was, he's been in other things, but
Sons of Anarchy, man.
Yeah, thank you. Sons of Anarchy. The point is that when you watch this movie, you see the star power. Instead of going, wow, they're great because they're in this, it's more like, fuck, I could be watching something better with that guy in it. Yeah. So what's your take, sir?
I enjoyed this movie. I did. I did not expect to. I had no expectation that I would enjoy watching it, but it's fun. It was a fun movie. The CGI, I didn't think was that terrible, to be honest.
I thought it was bad even for 2017. I guess, again, I'm used to Game of Thrones CGI. That,
okay. That's just, that's, opinion, whatever. Yep. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It made it a little more difficult to do this because I mean, for what it was, I think it succeeded what it was trying to be. I don't think it was trying to be more than it was, and I think what it was trying to be, it hit that mark. That was my take as I watched it.
Well, I will say this is not an argument. If that's the mark that mark that they hit to do this killed a 6-movie trilogy. Or right. Whatever it was,
right?
Sexology,
right? Yeah, and no, it was a failure. We wouldn't be doing it if it had succeeded in any metric. But I'm just saying. I mean, I just as a pure viewing experience, I enjoyed it. However, I can see why it would fail. I mean, it was a lot. You're not wrong. A lot of the side characters were just kind of there to propel the story. They didn't serve a huge purpose. The Mage thing, though, I mean, I guess I would say, well, she can control animals, but that doesn't mean she can control people. And a guy that's 4 times her size can probably subdue her. But that's, whatever. It was fun. I guess that's how I would, if you want a fun movie watching experience, I would recommend it. It sounds like you would not.
Well, no, I take it for what it is. It's a popcorn flick.
Yeah.
But it just isn't the best of a popcorn flick to the point where this is something where I would, and I did exactly that. I would not go to theaters for it, but I wouldn't mind checking it out when it came to DVD. This movie was not going to draw me into the theater, and it didn't draw very many to the theater.
No, and that's understandable because I think your point about Game of Thrones is very apt because, and that could have been part of why it was delayed too. Game of Thrones was at its height. Like it was the anticipation for the final seasons was at an all-time high, down in 2016, 2017, like people were just, every season was like an event, right?
Yes.
This was definitely in that realm. But this was more of a throwback. Like I would compare this more to like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves than I would.
That's the other problem with this. And I was not going to say it, but you brought up Robin Hood. This is like King Arthur meets Robin Hood meets fucking, Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe. For fuck's sake, it doesn't know what it is. It's schizophrenic.
Yeah. All right, well, fair enough. Let's talk about what we would have done different. So, you having more of a poor view of it, I'm going to let you start and kind of who would you put in charge and replace Guy Ritchie to try to make this a more successful project?
So I will admit, this is funny now, there was another reboot that came out in 2017 that I actually enjoyed, which was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, or Saban's Power Rangers. I actually very much enjoyed that movie because it was good in the action. Part of the thing I didn't like this too was that it had that Guy Ritchie fast-paced, this is the closest thing to Snatch he's done since Snatch.
Yeah, he's like an addict to kineticism. Like everything's just got to be moving, and he fetishizes that like Michael Bay fetishizes like
the shaky cam.
I was gonna say dolly shots where the camera's never still. It's like he's trying to make everything look epic, whereas Guy Ritchie's trying to make everything look like you're watching it while on a cocaine bender.
Absolutely. So some of the humor to me was off-putting as well. It's like it's King Arthur. take it, it's a little bit more of a serious historical thing, not witty banner. So I would take the director of Power Rangers, Dean Israelite, and put him in charge of this instead of Guy Ritchie.
Sure. Okay, I'm just kind of processing the witty banter thing that you just said. But that is kind of a Guy Ritchie staple. And, you talk about the gravitas of the King Arthur legend, but then again, dude's been played by Sean Connery and Clive Owen. So
I like Sean Connery. You're going to make fun of James Bond?
Well, I like Clive Owen, I guess. So I guess, I'll take that comment back. But I'm just saying the track record is not there.
No, it's not. It's never been handled properly.
But what I would do is, speaking of Game of Thrones, I guess if I were to do this project, my wife made a comment when I was watching this because she happened to be in the room half watching it too. And she said pretty early on, like, this feels like it would have been better as like a television show, like a 8-episode, one-off limited run series on HBO or Netflix or whatever. And that kind of stuck with me. And I thought, well, yeah, maybe. And if I'm going to do that, which is I think the direction I would have gone in, which I don't know if that's cheating or not. It's cast that movie, not cast that TV show, but will you allow it?
I'm going to let you do that, dude, because you're bringing a new thing to the show. People who are tuning in for the first time, this is a new thing, and I've dropped, I've changed things around on you before, so for drama's sake. So yes, I'm going to let you do that.
Well, I appreciate it. So what I would do is I would take probably the best known television director going right now based on his work on Game of Thrones. He directed the Battle of the Bastards episode, the Long Night episode. And I mean, say what you will about whether you liked either episode. I personally enjoyed them both, but he's obviously able to handle grand scale television, especially with Battle of the Bastards. His name is Miguel Sapochnik, and he is helming the television series King Arthur: Legend of the Sword on your favorite streaming service coming fall 2025. I don't know. But yeah, that's the direction I would go is have him take over with his bona fides.
I think this is perfect that you actually picked this because from my point of view, I also took this as a 6-movie franchise. So all of my choices were picked by people that I would want to see or characters that would be coming back. So yeah, absolutely. Okay.
I will then go into my Arthur.
Please.
As I stated, I'm a big Charlie Hunnam fan. I've been a fan of his since Green Street Hooligans. And then Descent, Sons of Anarchy, as I mentioned, watched it all, loved it, thought he was great. Loved him in Lost City of Z, thought he was brilliant in that, and very underrated movie. But my problem with his casting is he's too old. He's in his, I believe, mid to late 30s, had to have been when this filming happened. And, the Arthur character is meant to be younger. And I think he did his best trying to play a young guy. But I would actually go with a younger person, a guy at least in his late 20s, which is my pick. You may have to look him up, but his name is Ben Hardy. He's best known for playing Angel in X-Men Apocalypse and Roger Taylor in Bohemian Rhapsody. But he is a super good-looking dude.
Yeah.
Has a baby face. I think he could play, if we're doing a King Arthur Legend of the Sword, and you turn it into a series, a single series, a limited series, or an actual series with different seasons, he's a guy that you could put in, play the younger version, I think, add some facial hair on him, and he'd be convincing as an older Arthur as well. Not like a super old, but yeah, he's who I would pick. That's my Arthur. Who's your Arthur?
All right. Well, you and I were in similar mindsets. Because, I was like, dude, he's not a young King Arthur. What the fuck is this? That was one of my things. Again, I'm too much of a history buff and, things like that. So when I see things like this, I get pissed. But I was looking for a guy in his early 20s that you could make look younger. And in this episode, in the movie 1, make look younger, and you can get him to grow throughout the other 5 movies. And this guy was awesome. and a fan favorite in Stranger Things as Billy Hargrove. Do you know who I'm going with?
Billy Hargrove.
Craig Montgomery.
Oh, yeah, I picked him for to play Rob Lowe for the Rat Pack movie.
Yes. I'm picking him to be King Arthur.
Okay, fair enough. And he's Australian, right?
He's Australian, and yes, he's Australian, but I think he could do it.
Oh yeah, Australians can do literally anything. Is what I've come to find.
Yeah, there's a lot of amazing stuff.
Isn't that weird that Australia is not that big of a continent? I think it's a continent, right?
Yeah.
It's not that big, but God, they have so much talent in the acting. I guess
I think it's because they can focus on the arts down there because they're literally on a continent away from all the other fuckery. So they just get a world of their own, and they're like, we don't give a fuck what's going on out there. If they got nukes, it's not going to hit us, so fuck them.
Right. Okay, well, yeah, that's as good a theory as any.
That's the only theory I got.
So let's go on to Mage then. You obviously did not like how Mage was represented in the actual film. What would you do different, and who would you put in that role?
So Mage, so when you look at the Rotten Tomato, okay, I have, again, I do the research, so I get a leg up on some things. The Mage was supposed to turn out to be Guinevere in the later movies.
Oh, really?
But she was just called the Mage in the movies credit. Yeah, if you actually look on Rotten Tomatoes, it's Guinevere.
That makes sense now. Now that you mentioned it, I don't know how much they are supposed to overlap, but in the Clive Owen King Arthur movie, the Guinevere was like part of Merlin's tribe.
Yes, Guinevere is very much in Arthur's tribe. Yeah,
right.
So
not Arthur's, Merlin's tribe.
Merlin's, yes, and she's also the cause of some strife later on.
Sure.
So
drama.
I would in this I want the magic more defined because it just kind of seemed to do whatever. But I picked also. I felt I wasn't a fan. I want to go again with someone younger to match my Arthur. Okay. So I picked someone that I absolutely thought was amazing in an underrated movie that pulled on my nostalgia strings and was done brilliantly, which was Super 8, Ellie Fanning.
Oh, okay. I went with not her.
Okay.
I just wanted, my big letdown with that character is you don't really, you just basically cutaway scenes of her, like her eyes clouding over and her controlling animal. You don't get much there. So I wanted definitely a very talented actress that I have a lot of respect for, that I think could just naturally bring more to the role, and certainly hoping that with the added time of a TV series, it would be expanded and she'd have a more meaty presence. So I went with Alicia Vikander from Ex Machina. And
yes.
Yeah, most recently well known as being the latest Lara Croft.
Yes. Oh, that's a really good choice.
And I think, if this does in season 4, if she becomes Guinevere, I think she would have the ability to play that role too. So,
yes. I really like that. Okay. So then let's get to our villain, Vortigern.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a Jude Law fan. I am a big Jude Law fan. However, it was hard to buy him in the role. I think he tried, but I don't know. He's too posh, is I think what I would say about Jude Law. I know he's playing royalty, but he's the bad guy. He's the bad royal, and he's too pretty. So I went with somebody not so pretty. And you've picked this guy before, and you actually cast him as Batman.
Oh,
I picked Tim Roth.
Yes. Okay.
Always plays a good heavy.
He does play a good heavy. I also felt that Vortigern is a fucking warlord. This guy is like a war general, and I just didn't see that from Jude Law.
Yeah, definitely not.
No, and So when I think of warlord and I think of successful warlords in recent time, I always think of, speaking of, we brought it up many times, Game of Thrones, Jason Momoa.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
He seems more like a warlord to me than fucking Jude Law.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he played a warlord in Game of Thrones, so he's had some practice.
Yeah.
So then let's go to Bedivere, played by Jaimin Hansu.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do different there?
So this was a hard one for me. Because I landed on a guy that, what people do outside of filming.
Uh-oh.
Depending on, and you'll see it. This is a controversial pick, and spoiler alert. Maybe later there'll be a controversial pick.
We don't do controversial stuff here on this show. Never mind.
Yeah, right.
Go on.
I'm done beating around the bush.
Mm-hmm.
Wesley Snipes.
Oh, I did not see that coming. So I wanted to, I don't know if you know, Alicia Vikander is Swedish, but aside from that, I went all British.
Mm-hmm.
Just to kind of, I figure if you can find quality British actors, use them instead of, trying to make other, I don't know if Wesley Snipes could do an accent, honestly. Maybe he could, but I went with a black actor, a black British actor. I figure why not keep the role as a black role?
Absolutely.
So I went with Lenny James, who's best known for playing Morgan on The Walking Dead.
Yes.
I think he's got the gravitas to be that. It's a kind of a mentorish role. He definitely has that weight to his performance. And yes, he is my. I'm surprised neither of us picked Idris Elba, to be honest.
I was going to, but I was like, I've used the Idris Elba card, so many times. So I used them in the last. You didn't listen to the last episode, but I used them there. And Joe used them. Joe used them there. I don't remember. I can tell you. And Joe used them for something as well. So I'll pull it up here.
I mean, to be honest, it is he is somebody you can cast in pretty much anything. So it's an easy name to go to.
Oh yeah, so we did the Jackson 5 movie, and I chose him to be Joe Jackson.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Right.
Well, yeah, no, I definitely got to listen to that episode. Okay, so let's move on then to Uther, King Uther. We, before watching or deciding on this, I think we had brought up who the cast was before even seeing this, and when you saw it was Eric Bana, you threw up in your mouth a little bit, I believe.
I shit my pants and threw up in my mouth, sir. Yes. My entire body went into, expunge mode. Was
he as bad as you were fearing?
He wasn't as bad as I was fearing, but I just, all throughout the movie, I'm going, God damn Eric Bana. Every time he came on the screen.
And I pointed out to you.
And he's supposed to be fucking Charlie Hunnam's dad? What the fuck?
Well, he is, but obviously many years pass between when he's... Are you talking about just based on the looks? Or?
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the age and the looks. I mean, come on. You got a 30-some-year-old fucking Arthur who's trying to play a young kid, and you got... It was just kind of silly to me.
Yeah, but they weren't coexisting. Like, Uther died when Arthur was still, a toddler.
Yeah, I suppose. Fine.
But I mean, I guess in the looks area, I can understand that there's not much similarity there in looks. But I did want to pick an actor myself who kind of, isn't like an older doppelganger for Ben Hardy, but is a believable father, has a believable appearance to be his father. So I went with James Bond himself, Daniel Craig.
Nicely done. I had the same idea. I wanted, DeCray is a good-looking guy, but I actually picked an actor that is not known for being attractive, but I thought, you know what? In certain light, he could play his dad I think he could play his dad. Ralph Fiennes.
I believe that we in the industry call him Rafe Fiennes.
Fine. Rafe Fiennes. Jesus.
I've never understood it either. I mean, it is clearly Ralph. It's clearly spelled Ralph.
Yeah, it's clearly spelled. Yeah, and I will say it's kind of like a Guy Fieri, and where he's Guy Fieri. So
yeah. Right. No, I hear you. Okay, so Rafe Fiennes for Uther versus Daniel Craig. Interesting. All right, well, let's talk about our picks. And let's
real quick. I actually want to say that I understand why it is a Fieri, because it's the way that the R's work in there, but I just make fun of it.
Sure. Fuck him anyway.
I like him.
Yeah. No, I hear his restaurants are absolutely terrible.
Good guy. He's a good guy.
Is he?
He fights all of his friends in. Yeah. He roots for the underdog. He gives to so many different charities. He's a really good guy.
Well, maybe he just gets shit on.
He gets shit on because he looks like a fucking pretty boy because he does what he does. He's just eccentric. He means well.
He looks like a member of the Insane Clown Posse. Trying to pull out a day job.
Be careful. My wife is a juggalo. So.
Oh, I have respect for the I mean, I have more respect for the juggalos than I do for Guy Fieri. Don't get me wrong, but all right, whatever. No more talk of him. He has no place here. Let's talk about our director picks.
Yes.
So yeah, we kind of were. I guess I would say no, you did the Power Rangers director.
Yep.
And I went with Game of Thrones, probably most well-known director.
Yes.
I never watched the Power Rangers movie, and I don't know the guy's name recognize the name of the guy you had.
He's a newer actor. He's only done a couple of movies, something, a lot of stuff that people didn't see.
Newer director, you mean, right?
Yeah, newer director. I'm going to give this to you because, this needs someone with that Game of Thrones touch. Mm-hmm. This is a movie that is set in that era. It's perfect for it. So I think he would know the vision and be able to come in with a lot of experience to it, where Dean wouldn't know necessarily how to try to do an epic like this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So you really like the Power Rangers movie, huh?
I did. I didn't expect to. I rented it for the kids and watched it with them, and I absolutely loved it.
Interesting. Okay, let's go to our Arthur picks then. So I had Ben Hardy. You had, is it Docker or Dacre?
I think it's Decray or Dacre. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel so dumb. But Mr. Montgomery. We'll call him Mr. Montgomery.
Yeah. Mate Montgomery.
Mate Montgomery.
Yeah. I guess they're both very similar. They're both pretty boys that could act well enough, I think, to pull out the role. I don't know. I guess I'll give it to you because I picked him before, and I'm pretty sure we didn't go with mine on that one.
Okay.
Am I right?
Sure. We'll say you're right.
Yeah. So sure, I'll give you that one. Whatever. I'm feeling generous today.
Yay.
So then for the Mage, I had Alicia.
You won.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I mean, not that your pick was poor. But
no, but you know what? She's more into action than Ellie was. Mm-hmm. So as the seasons go on and she gets more involved, I think there'd be I think Ellie would have a higher learning curve.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
And we know Alicia can handle weapons, so
yes,
that's nice. You want that in a leading lady? I mean, what should be a leading lady?
Yes.
Okay, so then Vortigern, I picked Tim Roth. And you had who again?
Jason Momoa.
Momoa.
I'm gonna go with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I as much as I like Jason Momoa, should I be putting him in as a
It's hard. I will say I was going to point out. I mean, I love him too, but it's hard to see him as a part of the Pendragon bloodline.
Exactly. So I can yes. I just was trying to go with you could do things with makeup, but is that really necessary? No, I like Tim Roth. And again, we didn't pick Tim Roth last time. So just like you're giving me Mate Montgomery, I'm going to give you Tim Roth.
Yeah, we did not pick Tim Roth for Batman. I just want to make that clear.
Yes.
We went with Daniel Day-Lewis in case anybody's interested. For that little teaser, you can go back and listen to that episode.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis versus Tim Roth. There's a clear winner, ladies and gentlemen.
What were we smoking that week?
Right.
Okay, so then let's go to Bedivere. My pick was Lenny James, and you had Wesley Snipes.
I did. Again, you're gonna win this one. I'm giving you that. Yeah, I wanted to pick an older guy. I thought Wesley Snipes could kind of do it, but then you brought up the point of I don't know if he can do an accent.
I don't know if he can. I'm trying to think if I've seen enough Wesley Snipes movies.
Me too. Not really. I mean, he tried to do one in Demolition Man a couple of times, and it didn't go well.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm gonna give it to you.
I respect you going there, though. Wesley Snipes could use the work.
Yeah.
So then King Uther was our last pick. I had Daniel Craig, and you had, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Ralph
Fiennes,
yeah,
yes.
Ralph Fiennes.
Okay. I suppose since I gave you Arthur, I can give you a daddy, too. The package deal there.
Mm-hmm.
I like them both. They're both capable. Ralph Fiennes, certainly. I guess my one detraction would be he doesn't really exude macho-ness, but his acting ability obviously is unparalleled.
Unparalleled, and I think he would do the gravitas. He could make himself look like that.
I like Eric Bana, by the way. Just so
I know you like.
Fan.
Yes, we've had this discussion.
You like Eric Bana, I does not.
Something about him. And also Australian, mate. He's Australian as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fuck him. Fuck him.
All right, well, that concludes our King Arthur Legend of the Sword recast. I think it was a successful one. I think we came up with a good concept that would have worked better than the Guy Ritchie version.
Oh, yes. Like I said, there's just so many problems with, just, again, I really, for all the things I brought up, like the subjective stuff and, some of the theories of why it failed, really, again, a movie getting delayed for almost 18 months really, really, really is a sign that this isn't going to be good. That's been ingrained in us as movie watchers.
Right. Okay, well, let's go to our next break and come back. And I think we got a little game lined up, do we not?
We got game time. I got no pants on. Let's do it.
Game time. All right. We will be back in a minute.
Bad credit keeps you from upgrading your automobile. Well, wait no more. At Good Cars, Bad Credit, Used Cars, we won't even check your credit report. You drive off the lot in a sweet new ride, guaranteed. Admittedly, our interest rates are a little hinky bonkers, but beggars can't be choosers, am I right? So you're going to have to bite the bullet because your Skylark is in its death throes, and what else are you going to do except come to me? At Good Cars, Bad Credit, we care about you, the customer. You're what matters most. Who wrote this shit? Look, here's the dealio, you schmuck. No one else is going to take you. So get your sweet tush on over here or learn to take the bus for the rest of your life. July is Customer Appreciation Month, so come on down. Just know if you touch it, you buy it. So keep your fucking mitts off it.
Welcome back to Cast That Movie. We are just rolling along here. We're going to play a game. We're going to play a game, Tom. Game time.
Game time.
Game time. All right, we're going to keep doing our top three game. It's been pretty fun. This game is going to be our top three musicians that became actors. Now, just to be clear, they needed to be established musicians that later went on to become established actors.
Right, so, not the versa.
There's
a lot of actors that get into it, and then they get in the music.
I know you wanted to put Don Johnson on this list.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, Billy Bob Thornton.
Yes. So yeah, that's our criteria. Since you started on the first go around, I will start here on the game.
Please do, sir.
Yeah, my number 3 will be no surprise, and I'd be highly, highly surprised if he's not on your list. The brilliant Tom Waits.
That is my number 3. That's my number 3.
Nice.
Fuck, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's don't need to even discuss it. Yeah, Tom Waits, amazing.
He is arguably the best part of Seven Psychopaths, and there's a lot of best parts in that. So yeah, Tom Waits, he's really talented. Yeah, all right. Our 3s coincide. Well, I'll let you then tell me what is your number 2.
My number 2 is an actor that every time I see him in a movie, I absolutely love the guy. Mos Def.
Oh, yes. Yes, good choice. Mos Def.
Thank you, sir.
I went a very different route in my number 2. I would say the criteria is the same. Every time I see him, I love him. But he makes me laugh. Whereas Mos Def certainly is more of a serious actor. This guy can be, but is not known for it. I went with Jack Black.
Yeah. See, I have feelings about that.
Ooh, no. Go on.
I love, you know this, my love of Tenacious D is very, very well. Mr. Show, Tenacious D, I love the D. I love the TD. However, I really feel like his best movie was one of his first ones, which was High Fidelity, which he showed a lot of talent for it, but then he just plays that character in everything else he does. That's my feeling on it.
Well, fair enough. I like that character, though.
Sure.
Come on, absolutely. Tom. Give it up for JB, man.
I love JB. You know I love the Jables. I love the Jables.
Okay. Okay. No, that's fair enough. Who is your... Oh, you already gave me your number 2. So.
Yep, I gave you my... Yep. So you go with your number 1.
My number 1 is going to surprise you a bit, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. I don't think you will have seen this coming. But he is an actor that can act really well. He just maybe doesn't choose to go that route as often as you would like. But when he gives it his all, he is, I would say, one of the best. It is Will Smith.
I did not see that coming.
Oh, you sound disappointed.
No, I thought we were going to land on the same one here.
Yeah, you thought I was going to pick David Bowie.
I thought you were going to pick David Bowie, you fucker. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen The Goblin King or whatever.
Labyrinth,
yeah.
You haven't seen Labyrinth and his enormous cock? Dude, he is swinging a bat. He's in tights. He's swinging a bat that whole movie, dude. Yes.
Well, I have to watch it now.
Yeah, you do.
The only David Bowie role I can recall, and I might be forgetting, I like he was on Extras, that Ricky Gervais show for one episode. He was really funny in that. But the only thing I can recall is he did a good job playing Nicholas Tesla in it's escaped me, the Christopher Nolan, The Prestige.
The Prestige, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I've seen it, but I having not seen Labyrinth, like these other 3, the resumes were more so than his. So he'd be like my number 4. But yeah, no, I stand by my top 3.
Fair enough. I will just say there's things out there. I mean, remember he played himself in Zoolander.
Yeah, okay. That was a definite, by all definition, cameo though.
That was by all definition a cameo. I'm just saying, but yeah, he's been in a lot of things. He's been.
I didn't know Cock Size was going to be coming into.
Oh, Cock Size was coming in on that.
Determining acting talent, but fair enough.
No, he's amazing. He's amazing in Labyrinth. He was Pontius Pilate in the 1988 Last Temptation of Christ.
Okay.
He did his own movie. But yeah, anyways, check out his resume. Really good stuff.
Just be glad I didn't pick Sting, okay?
Fuck you.
All right, let's move on to our original dream project. And this is a fun one. Purely fun one. I'm guessing you got something here, but I don't know what really you're going to go into, because I think everybody's heard of this entity. It is Red Dead Redemption, of course, the Rockstar video game. We are going to pick a director and cast the major roles, and we are actually casting roles from Red Dead Redemption 2 because it's I would say more popular, and B, it's the prequel, so why not start at the beginning?
Absolutely. Yep, going into the prequel territory, which is what, oddly enough, Joe and I did last week when we did Star Wars The Phantom Menace.
See, it all connects.
It all connects, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, well, why don't you tell us some things we might not know about Red Dead Redemption?
Well, okay, so Red Dead Redemption is a Rockstar game, and if you're familiar with Rockstar games, they're the people that make, they made Bully, they made, most famously, the
Grand Theft Auto.
Thank you.
Yep.
And so in 2010, they decided they were going to do a Grand Theft Auto Western. And they made a spaghetti Western that was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The game shipped over it came out in 2010. It was shipped over 15 million copies by 2017. It's won awards after awards. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, then the sequel, the game ends on this cliffhanger, really. I'm not going to say anything. Mm-hmm. But what the sequel gives you is what led up to that point. Because they talk about a lot of characters, and you go after these characters that you were used to be in a gang with, and you don't really know, what happened there. And this gives you the story. And this story, given that the game came out in 2018 on, PlayStation 3, on Xbox 360, there was a lot more room to be used, for gigabytes. So mm-hmm. they were able to put in a lot more story. And it is it's a piece of art. It's an emotional roller coaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily far and away the both games. I would say the sequel, Red Dead Redemption 2, is my favorite video game I've ever played. Now, I haven't played nearly as many as you have, but I loved it. Obsessed with it. I actually
loved it.
I started playing through it again because it's been too long.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm a huge fan, and I would say the original Red Dead Redemption 1 is my second favorite game I've ever played, and I would say the even more going back, Red Dead Revolver.
Red Dead Revolver was amazing.
Yeah, at the time that was my favorite game, and I'd say probably still in my top 10 of games I've ever played. So
yep.
Absolutely love the game, and making it into a movie. Anytime you try to turn a video game into a movie, you're taking one format and trying to translate it into another format. It's dicey.
It's very dicey.
It rarely succeeds, actually. So that's the challenge here. Is let's pick a team that we feel would make this a success and make it a movie we would want to watch.
Yes.
So. You started the first.
Yep, you start, please, sir. You start, please.
Okay. So I want a director who's a known entity, because I think with a project of this caliber, and this the reputation that's ingrained in it, you need somebody dependable behind the camera. But I also I'm never gonna pick Michael Bay. Or anybody in that ilk. So I want somebody that's well-known, popular, but also has artistic merit. And I also wanted somebody that has never done a Western before, because I want to see this guy do a Western so bad. I went with Danny Boyle.
Very nice. Very nice. I like Danny Boyle. Boy, remember how I said the controversy was going to come up?
Yes.
Spoiler, we're there.
All right.
I, as a human being, do not like this director.
Ooh. It's not Michael Bay, is it?
It's not Michael Bay. It's not Michael Bay. I swear to God, it's not Michael Bay. You'll learn as I go on here. I think you'll guess it before I give it away. But I highly have issues with this guy. However, Westerns he is familiar with. Yet, oddly enough, in his time as a director...
I know who you're talking about, but I won't spoil it. You go on. Yes, I got it already.
Yeah, as a director, he hasn't actually directed a Western. And I want to see him make a Western because, just because he should. I mean, maybe I'll see it, maybe I won't. But again, I despise this person as a human being, but I cannot take away his artistic integrity and what he has done in the film and art world. And I really had to separate myself. Clint Eastwood.
Well, starting you off there, yes, I did guess him, but I could save this for when we debate, and I will. I'm going to save this for when we debate. This little factoid I was going to throw at you.
Please do.
I will save it for then. Debate. Let's get to the cast. So we're going to start with Arthur Morgan, who is the protagonist of Red Dead Redemption 2. Who would you put in this pivotal role?
I would put a guy that is really good in high octane type situations, but can also be a methodical kind of actor. So, knowing what it is and knowing he's only going to be in the one movie, because we'll probably, do the first game afterwards. Tom Hardy. Okay.
Yeah, I love Tom Hardy. My Arthur Morgan, though, I went in a little different direction because, you want somebody that can do, the serious, but I wanted also somebody. Arthur Morgan's got some funny moments.
Absolutely.
And you need somebody that can pull that off too. And you might say I overcorrected with this pick, and you wouldn't be wrong, but he's also done Westerns. And I thought did a very good job. And then one of them, which was a very serious Western. So basically, I'd be taking his role from The Magnificent Seven and his role from The Kid, which was an indie Western few people saw, but he played a very, very big heavy. I am going with Chris Pratt.
I was going to say, I've seen The Kid. Chris Pratt, very nice. He's definitely in vogue right now. Absolutely. He is a catch. Yep. Okay.
And I think you need that. I think, I think both picks are picking A-list talent, and you got to. It's Red Dead Redemption. You need it.
Who's your Marston? Who's going to be kind of learning from Arthur?
Okay, so for my John Marston, I was tempted. I didn't do it because of the age thing. It would have been a ridiculous pick due to age. But I was tempted to pick Josh Duhamel.
Okay.
Because for the longest time, I thought he did the voice of John Marston.
Fair enough.
Until I looked it up, and it wasn't him, but it sounds just like him, doing like a Southern accent. So didn't go there. So I went with another guy that definitely has a resemblance to the John Marston character, who he's Canadian, but he has his breakout role was on the TV show Friday Night Lights. Okay. I went with John Carter himself, Taylor Kitsch.
Nice. So I went with someone that I think can do accents, because and I went a little bit away. When you're doing a video game to a movie resemblance, you're gonna have some differences in the way that some of the characters look. You just are.
Sure.
And I picked someone that I want to be younger that could do it, and I saw him and I was like, yes, I think he'd do well. Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. So what about Dutch? What about Dutch Vanderlind?
Dutch Vanderlund is very much a character, and I wanted to get someone that could probably look like him. And, he's done with the X-Men movies. He's done playing Wolverine. He's my Dutch, Hugh Jackman.
Okay. Yeah, he is a character, and so you do need somebody that you want a Dutch that's at least somewhat similar to the video game Dutch. So the guy I picked is known for doing some crazy good impressions in other roles that he's done, and that is one Josh Brolin.
Oh, very nice. Yes. Ooh, that's going to be a good debate there. So who's your Micah?
So for Micah Bell, I went with somebody that I know can play a bad guy, and Micah's a bit of a psychopath, right? So somebody that I know can go there, but it's also, again, I'm trying to keep it at A-list talent, or at least close to A-list talent because of the property. I went with Jared Leto.
Very nice. I went with a guy that could also play a villain, but you could see the charisma in him. It's because Micah Bell is, very much a guy that has this unusual charisma to him. For whatever reason, people are drawn to him. Mm-hmm. I went with Aaron Paul.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then let's round it out then. Sadie Adler. Who's your Sadie Adler?
So Sadie Adler is in her, early 30s, late 20s, married. But she's a fucking badass.
Yeah.
She is a badass. And I wanted someone that has been a badass. And as you said, I wanted some high profile names. She is very much in the MCU. I went with Brie Larson.
Yeah, we picked the same person there.
Yeah, I knew we were gonna.
Yeah,
that's one of those. That's one of those. Who else do you pick? Type of thing.
I couldn't think of a better name for that role. I had thought about Jennifer Lawrence, but then I thought, well, we'll save her for something else. I think this is more up Brie Larson's alley.
1,000,000%.
Yeah. So okay. Let's talk about our picks then. So our director picks.
Yeah. What's your factoid about my director?
My little factoid is one of his first films that he directed was Unforgiven, which was a Western.
Oh, he did direct. I just thought he started in that. Okay. So, and I love Unforgiven. It's a great movie, I thought. So, but I hate him as a person.
Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry. I can't give any. I don't.
No, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you because.
Thanks.
Yeah, I felt just slimy picking it. It was a controversial pick. I knew that.
Right. Well, luckily we didn't have to take it. So
yeah.
So Danny Boyle it is. So our Arthur Morgan's. This is a tough one.
This is a tough one.
What are your thoughts?
I like Chris Pratt, but Chris Pratt, he doesn't look like an old. Arthur. He's in his late 30s. He's kind of grizzled. He's had a hard life. He doesn't. He comes off too pretty, and Tom can play. He's done so many different roles and just takes the makeup easier.
Yeah, I'm thinking Peaky Blinders. He did another show on FX. It's Taboo. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll give you Tom Hardy. It's hard to not go with Tom Hardy when he's on the table, and he can do anything.
He can, and Chris Pratt will be used again, and he will win again somewhere. It's not a knock against Chris Pratt. It's just you have those two in a room that play Arthur. Who do you go with?
Sure. Okay. Well, then let's going on to Dutch Vanderlind. Or no, I'm sorry. We did John Marston.
John Marston.
Okay. So you had You had Harry Potter for this one.
I had Harry Potter for this one. Oh. And you had remind me.
Yeah, Taylor Kitsch. I love Daniel Radcliffe. I can't see it. It's just too. The looks are nowhere. I know you're not going to. I respect the fact you're not going to get it right on the looks department, but that's just too far. And he's really short. And John Marston is.
Oh, okay. I'll give it to you. Yeah. I'll give you Taylor. 100%. Because you know what? He looks enough like John that he should get it. Put a couple scars on him, get him a little fucking dust makeup on his face, make him a little fake tan on there. Yeah.
And also his voice, he's kind of got that slight little rasp to it that whoever voiced John Marston has. So, okay, all right.
He did great in John Carter. No one liked the movie, but he was actually really good in it.
Well, speaking of which, we have more John Carter news later on in the show. That's breaking news to you, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Dutch Vanderlind. This is a toughie. We both had solid picks here.
Yes. Oh.
Who's going to blink? We were both fishing from the same well here.
Yeah, we were. Do we push on this one? Do we just say we like each other's picks and go?
Yeah. I mean, I obviously like my pick of Josh Brolin and
fuck. No. I'm gonna give you Josh. Josh just has that I should be in a Western look.
Oh, yeah, he is. He does.
And Hugh's kind of in the same boat. You know, I harped on you about Chris Pines, and yet Hugh Jackman, you look at him and you see Hugh Jackman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, Chris Pratt, you mean, but yeah.
Chris Pratt.
It's, one of the Chris's.
One of the Chris's.
So many Chris's these days.
So many Chris's. You got Helmsworth, you got Pines, you got Pratts, you got
Evans.
Evans, you got Chris Monkey shit. What do you do? There's a lot of them.
There are other names out there, people.
There are names you've never heard of.
Yeah, like Joad McDougal.
And Tom.
All right. And Tom Van Horton. Okay, let's go to Micah Bell then. I'll give you this one. I'll give you. My interest is piqued with your pick.
Yeah, I think he'd be really good as a fucking bastard that's charismatic. Yeah, I think he could really pull it off.
Okay. All right, you get Micah.
And obviously Sadie's
Yeah. There's nothing to discuss there. We picked Brie Larson, the both of us. So
yes.
All right, I think a Danny Boyle spaghetti Western with that cast would be pretty badass.
That would be really fucking badass. I have to agree. I think we casted probably the perfect movie between the two of us to make that happen.
Now, I've heard rumblings they have talked about making this movie. I have not seen anybody attached to it yet.
No.
So I think we're okay. I don't think we stepped into a project that's in development.
No.
But if it is in development,
or a adult animation movie. But it was just basically a rehash of, it wasn't, then, I mean, you've never heard of it, so it wasn't that great.
But I was going to say, if this is in development somewhere and we're just not privy to that knowledge, I say listen to our episode, and we just gave you a pitch perfect cast.
Yeah. You cannot go wrong with what we just gave you. You will win the first ever great game to movie video game movie.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, let's wrap that up then, and let's go to our last break. And then let's come back and say our goodbyes and maybe tease what we have in store for the next episode, shall we?
Yes, sir.
All right, we will be back in 2 shakes of a crawdad's wiener. I don't know. We'll be right back. Tried everything in the bedroom and nothing seems to keep the dagnab spark alive? Try sex cream, which is just melted ice cream you lick off each other's naked bodies, from toe to tit. Now look, that one was a freebie, but if you want more advice where that come from, y'all gotta sign up for Sweet Cleat Sex Counseling. And I ain't lying, your bed gonna bust from all the hot, sweaty lovemaking y'all gonna be doing now, you hear? We are sexual beings, y'all. And I have unlocked the secrets to all kind of erogenous zones and G-spots and backdoor buzzers. Let me tell you, you're fixing to just be busting bingos the whole night long now. So hire me, Sweet Cleat, today, and your marriage will never, and I mean never, never, ever, be the same, buckaroos.
Don't give me your reasons to stay. I won't be listening, babe.
All right, welcome back to the home stretch here of Cast That Movie. Tom, we did it. We did it yet again. A little bit rusty on my end, I will grant you, but whatever. We'll get back in the group.
I'll be honest. If I seem a bit off, it's because I was boozing during this episode. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Oh, well, I was. I thought that's what we always do.
Shh! Don't give away the trade secret, sir.
God, imagine how good I'd be if I weren't. All right, so yeah, we had fun, but I think it's time to turn our attention now to next week and talk about what we're not next week, the week after next, and talk about what we're doing in the next episode. I already kind of teased the remake in our last bit. We are going to be doing John Carter, starring Taylor Kitsch, my John Marston. So yeah, I have not seen it myself, and you obviously have, based on the fact that you said you liked it.
I did like it, but God, I haven't seen it since it came out. So,
and it bombed.
Bombed. Oh, there's a story there, people. So that's gonna be a nice one.
Edge of your seat entertainment. Not the movie, the story of the movie. That's what I'm saying.
Story of the movie.
But okay, and then why don't you, Tom, introduce what our original project is going to be next episode?
So, we did Red Dead Redemption, which was taking a video game and putting it into a movie. So there's another movie documentary that you like about video games, about a notorious figure in the world of professional gaming, one Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell. If you know who he is, you're going to be looking forward to it. If you don't know who he is, prepare for another batshit story about what went on with this guy. So,
yes. And do we encourage people to watch the documentary ahead of time, or to save that for after they hear the story and hear what we would do?
Maybe I would say hold off because there's things even in the documentary doesn't go into.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot.
Now I'm excited.
Yeah. So
okay. Well, that's going to be fun. So we will be back in 2 weeks with those two projects, in addition to the other shit we do. But yeah, it's good to be back. Looking forward to continuing this journey. And want to once again invite everybody out there to check out the new podcast we just started called Bears Beats Bobbleheads Talking Office, for all you Office fans out there, or just fans of us. And then, of course, don't want to forget to plug your podcast. Why don't you go ahead and do that real quick, your Twin Peaks podcast?
Yes. So there is 19 episodes left of the Twin Peaks podcast. We are now getting into season 3, which me and Joe both agreed is our favorite David Lynch work of all time. But the episode that just came out was the book that you need to read before you watch it. It gives a lot of insight into what's going to occur and what's going on. The secret history of Twin Peaks, which Joe and I, this is how we actually started talking and as friends. We met each other, didn't know each one was going to a book signing by the author Mark Frost in Minneapolis. So, yeah, I highly recommend it.
Okay. Well, it sounds like if they just listen to your podcast, they'll learn all they need to know.
They will learn a lot. We gloss over the stuff that you need to know. However, there's some things we don't go into just because it didn't really relate a whole lot. So there's about a good solid 150 pages that we didn't cover, but that's more about characters, like resolution of characters from seasons 1 and 2 that necessarily maybe don't make it into season 3.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, and then as always, all of this content can be found in one place, the joedown.blog. So definitely visit that. And there's other stuff there too. So you'll enjoy our podcasts as well as other things that will tickle your pop culture bone.
Yes, as a matter of fact, for the Joe Down, they're going to go into sports movie month. Ooh. So that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that
seeing
should
them
be fun.
Get snarky on some sports movies.
I can imagine. All right, well, Tom, I think it's time to say goodbye.
I'm sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we will be back, and when we come back, we will be better than ever.
Absolutely.
So, in the meantime, bye!
Bye!